My name is Danielle.
My name is Cassidy.
We love you, Glama!
Oh, I love you too, Glama girls. Hi everyone, Glama here. Welcome back to Made with Love by Glama. Yay! I'm making a crochet video. So what I'm going to be doing today is I am going to be updating some of the videos that I made 4 years ago when I first started this channel. I made 6 beginner lessons, 6 beginner crochet lessons on here. And so I am going to be updating those. I've been wanting to do this for about 3 years now, and the reason I've been wanting to update them is because I was new when I made those videos and I made some mistakes, and I caught those mistakes after I uploaded them to YouTube. And I thought, oh, what do I do? I've already got so many views on them. I've already got so many comments on there, and I've answered all those comments, and I thought, what do I do? So what I did is I just went and cut off the tail end of some of those videos. I think 2 of the videos where I noticed that the mistakes were. And I thought it doesn't really matter if I cut the tail off. All I'm really cutting off is a little bit and my outro, my goodbye to everyone. Because I had already taught the lesson at the beginning, and I had already gave y'all all the instructions and everything. The tail end was just kind of repeating what I had already taught, reiterating everything, and my goodbyes, of course. And so I cut it off thinking I don't want people to mess up and it not come out right because of my little mistake. So I just cut the tail end off of that video. I think 2 of the videos. But I have gotten comments in the past 4 years like, hey, the video cut off abruptly, what do I do? But because they're new, without them knowing that they didn't really need the tail end of it, all the instruction was in the beginning, I still get those comments like, oh my gosh, the video got cut off, what do I do, what do I do? But so rather than continue to get comments like that, I thought I would go ahead and update those same 6 videos, and that way, you know, I don't know, I was probably really nervous in those videos too. I remember always noticing when I would watch it back that I had shaky voice because I was new at filming and new to talking to the camera. Even though I was alone in my room like I am now, I was just more nervous then. Not as nervous anymore. So we're gonna do the first one is we're going to do that today. The first one is going to be how to chain. And so this is completely for complete brand new beginners that are just wanting to learn how to crochet, don't know the basics, and they're just needing to even how to hold their crochet hook, how to hold the yarn, and how to chain. So I'll probably use the same thumbnail as I have in the old 6 videos. And I'll use the same title. The only difference will be is I'll put in all caps updated and then the same title. That way y'all know that those are the new ones, okay? All right, so let's just get started, and I will see y'all back there at the crochet table. So just in case I forget to say goodbye at the end of those videos, don't forget how much I love you. Don't forget to love yourselves and everyone you come in contact with. All right, let's get back there. Okay, so today we are going to start our first lesson on crocheting. And so we're going to do it a little differently than what I did when I first did my beginner lessons 1 through 6. I began with teaching you how to single crochet. And today I'm going to show you different ways of how to hold your hook. I'm going to show you how I hold my yarn, and I'm going to show you what you will possibly be needing to crochet. You don't need all of the things that I'm going to talk about, but it is helpful to, at some point, if you find out that you do like crocheting and you think you're going to stick with it, it would be great if you did eventually go out and purchase some of these things, because believe me, it will make your life a lot easier while you're crocheting. So let's just go ahead and get started, and I'll let you know what you'll be needing to crochet. Okay, so before we get started today, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what you need if you're a beginner crocheter and you don't have any supplies and you have no idea what you need in order to start crocheting. I'm going to show you some things that you need and things that aren't necessarily things that you need but would make it way more helpful if you had these things. Okay, so first of all, you need your crochet hooks and yarn. So these are the crochet hooks that I use. They are by the company called Tulip. And so they are really, really ergonomic, very, I don't know, I just love how they feel. I used to crochet with boy crochet hooks, and I have tried Susan Bates hooks as well, but these are my favorite, Tulip crochet hooks, and this is what the whole packaging looks like. It says Tulip right there, has like a faux alligator case, and you get almost every single size that you could possibly need. And it has this handy little bag right here, and I'm going to show you the stuff that I keep in the bag that I find myself needing on a regular basis. So let's start with that. This is the hook I'm going to use today, so I'm going to leave this out. So obviously you need your hooks and your yarn. Okay, so you need yarn. This is Red Heart Super Saver yarn. It's probably the least expensive yarn that you can find out there. And you often need a pair of scissors. So any little pair of scissors will do, or regular scissors. These came with the kit. This also came with the kit, and we often need these big tapestry needles to weave in our ends. Comes with 2 sizes, this particular kit. But any large eye needle will do that you can find at your local store. And if you have bad vision like me, sometimes I need what do you call it? I don't know what you call it. A needle threader, that's what it's called. This is just an inexpensive one that I found at Walmart, and so I use that sometimes. And stitch markers. Stitch markers come in really handy. If you don't have stitch markers, a lot of times you can cut a piece of yarn and use that as a stitch marker. These are 3 different types that I have right here. I have that one that is super easy to use. But sometimes it can slip out, but that doesn't usually happen to me, so I like that. And then there's this kind where you slip it where you need it, and then it has like a safety pin closure, so there's another kind. And then you have these kind that slip in, and they have little abbreviations. Right side, RS for right side, so I have a whole bunch of these that have different abbreviations. So there's a bunch of stitch markers there. So yeah. All right, I'm going to clear all this and we are going to get started with our lesson. So I'm going to show you, this is the stuff that I usually keep in my little bag here. I usually keep all this with me so that it's nice and handy. Okay. Oh, another thing that I usually keep in there that I forgot to show you, I have it over here by my side, is a row counter. This comes in so handy if you're in the middle of a project and someone talks to you, walks in the room, doesn't realize that you're counting. You can lose your count very easily. So when you start a new row, you just hit your row counter, and if someone interrupts you, then you just look down and you know what row you're on. So very handy. I got this one off of Amazon. So yeah. Alrighty guys, now let's get started with our lesson. Okay, the first thing that I want to show you is 2 different ways that most people hold their crochet hooks. I started off holding my crochet hook like this, kind of like a steak knife hold. But I now hold it like this, kind of like a pencil. And I wanted to learn to hold it like this for a couple of reasons. One, because I wanted to be able to switch from this to this at any given time, because people who crochet or knit or do crafts are, they tend to get carpal tunnel. So that way, if you're doing this for long periods of time, crocheting like this, you can switch it up and have different movements so that you don't get carpal tunnel. And because I like how it looks better. This was awkward to me, but that's how I saw people doing it. So that's what I tried to do. But it felt awkward, and this feels much more natural to me. So, okay. All right. So there's 2 ways to hold your crochet hook. So you play with it and see how you feel. Okay, so let's begin with how to hold the yarn. There are lots and lots of ways of how you can hold your yarn, and basically what it boils down to is hold the yarn how it's the most comfortable for you. So if you're watching a lot of YouTube tutorials and watching a lot of crocheters on there and learning from them, then watch how these people hold their yarn and try it out and see if it works comfortably for you. If it doesn't, go to the next person. Or you can do what I did, and I did the same thing. I tried what different people were doing, and I couldn't find anything that felt comfortable for me. So what I ended up doing is holding my yarn like this. So basically, the yarn is above my index and my pinky finger and below my 2 middle fingers. And that's how I hold the yarn, and it seems to slip through my hands nice and comfortably. I can control the tension by closing my index finger to my middle finger and so on. A lot of people like to wrap their yarn around their pinky. To me, the tension is too tight when I do that, so that doesn't work for me. So, all right, so you figure that out. You can try it like I just did, or you can watch other YouTubers and get ideas from them, but ultimately do what works best and is most comfortable for you. All right, so now that we've got that out of the way, we are going to start with a slip knot. All crochet projects are started with slip knots, at least all the ones I've ever come across. And so how I make a slip knot, and once again, there are lots of ways to make slip knots. This is just what I do. I leave a little bit of a tail hanging. I wrap the yarn around my fingers like that. I bring the tail around, and it ends up looking like a pretzel. And so this part right there is what I end up grabbing with my hook. Okay, and then I just tug. Yeah, you tug on the yarn. You don't want it too tight. You tug on the little tail right there. You don't want to make it so tight that it can't slide up and down your hook. So that's a slip knot. Let me do that one more time. Okay. Okay, there we go. So just kind of work on that. Do that for a little bit. If you're brand new at this, work on that until you are comfortable making slip knots, and then move on to the next part of this video. Okay, so now that you're comfortable with making slip knots, I went ahead and I'm holding the yarn the way I said that I do. And you always want to, when you're this close to the beginning of your project, you hold on to that little knot right there of your slip knot, and then that's how you start chaining. And so that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to chain. So what I do to chain is I wrap my yarn around, grab it with that little hook right there, and slide it through that loop. What you don't want to do is you don't want to hold your hook like this where the hook is upwards, because it might slide out. You definitely don't want to hold it like this because it might slide out. What I like to do is I like to hold on to the knot. I like to hold it in this manner like this, wrap my yarn around, make sure that the yarn is on the hook, and then I slide it through this slip knot loop. And there you go. You just made your first chain right there. And a chain looks like a V. So when you hear people saying the V of your chain, that's what they're talking about. It looks like a V, or in my opinion, I think it looks like a braid. So there's one chain, and after you make your first chain, you kind of want to grab that chain. Now you want to move upward from holding on to the knot to holding on to the first chain. Yarn over, pull that through that loop, and you just made your second chain. And so what I do is I'm continually moving my thumb upward so that, because if you continue to hold it down here, it's a little bit harder to do. Sorry if I'm getting blurry here. So I periodically move my finger up and hold the yarn a little further up. So yarn over, pull the yarn through that loop. So each time these V's make another chain. So right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4. The loop that's on your hook is not considered a chain. That is your working loop where you're going to bring the yarn through there. Okay? So yeah, that's how you chain. So practice this until you feel comfortable with it, and then come back and we can continue. The next lesson is going to be how to single crochet. Okay, all right. Okay guys, so I hope you enjoyed this first lesson, and like I said, it's a little differently than how I did it when I first did my beginner lessons 1 through 6. This time there's probably going to be 7 lessons because the next one is going to be how to single crochet. In my first lesson 3 years ago, I started with single crochet, but we're going to do that in our next lesson. So the reason that I'm leaving single crochet for my next lesson is because I know that when you're brand new and just starting out and you're a beginner, it can get rather frustrating just learning how to hold the yarn and then how to hold the yarn while holding the hook, and hold the yarn while holding the hook, while holding the little bit of chain that you have there. So I wanted to do it a little differently this time and give all you beginner crocheters this time to focus on those things that I just taught until you feel really, really comfortable with it. That way you don't get frustrated when you're actually trying to start your very first project of single crocheting. And so on our next lesson, we're going to learn single crochet, and we're going to single crochet a coaster. Alrighty guys, so I will see you then. Don't forget how much I love you. Don't forget to love yourselves and everyone you come in contact with. Alrighty, bye.
Thank you for watching our Glama's channel.